Hello, everybody. Thank you for being patient with me through some technical difficulties in a new Facebook kind of interface. I hope I am able to be heard, and I hope that you can see me. And it's such an interesting thing that all this discombobulation should happen at the time when I'm setting out to talk about something that's really, really important and really resonant of all the discombobulation. And so the title of this, maybe you've seen my invitation that I sent out this morning, but the subject of today's Wisdom Wednesday is called The Great Undoing. This subject came to me this morning while I was in my hot yoga class with a wonderful facilitator whose name is Stephanie Hayden. And it was a sweaty sculpt process that we were in. It was, I was bent over in half. We were just getting up from a really tough series of sort of yoga reps. And she said, okay, put all the pieces back together now. And when she said that, it made me laugh. I heard a couple of other people giggle as well. Just the idea of putting the pieces back together as if the pieces had come apart. And I realized, well, they kind of did. You know, am I taking the time to actually come back into my body? Am I taking the time to feel? Are my shoulders back? You know, is my diaphragm kind of lifted? Am I balanced? Am I relaxed? Or all the pieces of me kind of disjointed and jangly? Sure enough, they felt really jangly. I realized my breath was choppy. So when she said, okay, put all the pieces back together, I made a concerted effort to actually be more embodied. And I started thinking as we were going through our sculpt class of all the ways that we experience getting undone, not just in yoga, but certainly in life, where we feel the many, 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 many thousands, maybe millions of pieces of us that need to work together. They need to work in synchronicity with each other in order for us to live, in order for us to get through our days, in order for us to maintain our systems in various ways. So, lots of time, many of these pieces fall out of alignment, and we feel it. If enough of them start falling out of alignment, we will start feeling jangly in one way or another, disconnected, kind of like we're trying to walk forward and backwards at the same time. When you translate this into a mental, emotional aspect of this, and those pieces start fighting each other, then we can be in deep trouble. We can go into depression or really confusion. So this misalignment, these feelings of being unhinged, this is happening a lot in our culture, our society, our world right now. It certainly is happening within each one of us. If you feel it, you can feel that when these pieces of us become misaligned, they can actually start fighting with each other. And we can start feeling ill. We can start feeling the coming apart of it. So our stomach will bother us, or we'll start getting headaches, and then our minds will start thinking and overthinking, and our nervous system will start reacting. And pretty soon, all these aspects of us are actually, instead of synchronistically working with each other, they're working against each other. This is resonant of what's happening in our world as a whole. And what I'm calling it is, I'm calling it the Great Undoing, which is a name that just came as I was writing about it this morning. And it came with a feeling and a knowing that we need to be undone. That there's so many aspects of who we are, how we live, how we run ourselves, our families, our societies, on every level, need to be undone. They need to be reworked. But we can't actually rework anything until we allow a lot of that which is stuck and sticky to leave. What I'm experiencing lately is that so much of the hostility and fear-based thinking that has been internalized for generations, not allowed to be spoken or even, in a lot of cases, thought about, have been given permission in various ways to all come out, all be said, all be believed. And as uncomfortable as all that was, we have to realize that this is stuff that's been in all of us. The fear of our government, the fear of our institutions, the fear of each other, the anger, feelings of having freedom taken away. And as preposterous as some of these things can sound to some of us, and others sound like perfect truth, doesn't really matter. They are actually the unwinding and the turning outward of stuff that has been just hidden away in the closet, the deep closets of our subconscious minds. It's been causing us tension and grief for many, many, many years, and also what it causes is a sort of shutdown. Because when we are so clogged up with frozen thoughts and ideas and identities and stories that can't be spoken, that can't be mentioned, we can't get past it. It becomes a fixed idea, and often we don't even know what that idea is until we start speaking it. The problem with a lot of this is that as this stuff turns outward and is begun to be spoken, we believe it. We believe in the stories of it. We start believing that our government is against us, that there are plots and plans and all kinds of things meant to take advantage of us and destroy us. We start undermining our own sense of well-being by believing in our own stories. And they build. And they're told to us over and over and over again. And we start getting really suspicious, and we start feeling crazy. And there is an undoing. It's a necessary undoing. Because all of us, no matter what our background is, no matter what our belief system is, no matter what the color of our skin, our ancestry and heritage is, whether we're rich or poor, we all share the human strain. We are all human beings. We share frailties. We share strengths. We share the common human story. And in our undoing, as all this stuff unfolds, shows its face, is spoken into the collective, we are supposed to be able to see that it's all story, that it's all connected to some kind of fear. And after that, we are meant to let it undo itself, to let it unwind out of ourselves like a snake that has been binding us up for many generations. Our mistrust and suspicion is not a new thing. It's as old probably as the human experience itself. What is new is that we are entering an age where we are hopefully recognizing that this great undoing, this necessary unwinding, no matter how crazy it sounds, is absolutely necessary for us to begin reaching the next level of consciousness that's supposed to happen. We can't stay here. We can't live in our little greedy silos. We can't live in antagonism and conflict and actually expand. We can pretend, but it's not happening unless we find ways to understand that the collective of us all needs to up-level, that no one is particularly wrong or right. Maybe details are wrong or right, but we are not inherently wrong or inherently right. No one has a corner on rightness. We can be righteous, we can think, we can be arrogant, we can think we're right. But honestly, we don't know. We don't really know anything. And when we get to a place, finally, after all the unwinding, if we can get there, if it's a big if, we can get there, we will come to a place of I don't know. And a place of I don't know is not comfortable, but it's a beautiful thing. It is a spiritual status. The I don't know drops an agenda of needing to know, needing to be right, needing to be heard, needing to be believed. The I don't know opens us to inquiry, curiosity. It opens us to exploring love rather than conflict. This undoing, we're seeing it all over the world. There are many places, many things that won't survive it. Too stuck in old, dried up notions of what life is. How can we support each other to actually unwind out of our preconceived notions? How can we support each other to have a voice and yet not believe all the stories that that voice promotes, all the fear stories? How can we support each other to feel our anger and rage and not act on it? To know that it's a flow that leads to passion and all kinds of doingness in the world. but it is not to be acted on in its own story of itself. How can we support each other to allow the undoing of our psyche, the undoing of our emotional bodies, so that we can discover ourselves, what our spirit is trying to guide us to become. At the end of this story, at the end of the great undoing, there is an overflow of spiritual energy that comes here, that flows into this form of life here, into this material world, because there's room for it, because there's an opening, because we collectively become a portal to receive the love from creation and spirit. And that love in itself asks us to keep undoing anything that starts getting built up again in terms of kind of stubborn belief and need to be right. That love cannot exist when there's self-righteousness. It can't. But it's waiting for us, folks. It really is. You can feel it if you just take a breath with me. It's right there, like a realm that's existing right next to us, a dimension that is offering an open door for any of us who are willing to cross that threshold and allow the undoing of our personal and work, family, community, country, planetary life. Let's be truly free. Mahalo. Thank you. And all my love to you. Till next time. Bye.